Hi, my name is Kirsty and welcome to Kirsty Knits and Sews. This is my podcast where I share about all the things that I have been making. Today I have quite a few finishes to show you, including one that I hadn't even cast on last episode, so very excited for that. I also have my finished MusiKAL, Mystery MusiKAL, that is done, and a few stories to go with that one. I don't know if I have other new cast-ons other than the one that I've already finished, but I do have some whips to go through with you, things that I'm currently working on. I have stats for October. It is currently November 8th. And I have a few other things, Advent, Christmassy related, what I'm working on at the moment, all sorts of things. I'm very, very excited. It is a miserable day here. I live in Rzeszów in Poland with my husband and my kids. It is, let's see, 4:09 p.m, 16:09, and I have a window up here and it is just grey. The sun will go down in not too many minutes, hours maybe, minutes, give it maybe an hour, and we are going to be dark. So I do have artificial lights on today to try and show you real colours. One of the things that I have in particular normally when I show people on my phone, it doesn't give great colours, so I'm hoping that we can get real colours today. Anyway, welcome! If this is your first time, great to see you here. I hope you have a cup of coffee or tea or something to drink. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Great to see you again. And as always, I'd love to hear what you've been working on down below. And thank you for everyone who commented last week, who told me what you're working on, but also gave me feedback on the 12 cast-ons. I do have my trusty pot here. I've been planning and I'm so excited. If you don't know, 12 cast-ons is a knit along hosted by Ange of Yarn and Yarns, where you cast on up to 12 projects between the 24th of December and the 31st of January the following year, just to set you up for your year's worth of making. And I have jumped on with that. I did it last year. I loved it. I'm doing it again. And every year I pick something out of this, every day for 12 days, I picked something out of this bowl and started it. So I am going to do that again. The element of surprise I definitely loved, and you guys did too, so I love it. But I am going to whittle down what I put in here. So I'm not just going to put in everything that I have yarn for or plans to make. I'm going to put in, I haven't decided, maybe 20. I'm basically going to take out the ones that I'm not very excited about. Or maybe like I have a few socks that I might group together as socks, since Ange did that last year. So totally fair now. This year, sorry, Ange did that this year. So I'm going to have a little bit of a think. I have upwards of 35 in here at the moment, so I'm going to whittle that down a little, but I'm still going to have more projects than days, so it's still going to be a surprise. Anyway, all that to say, stuff is happening. I don't even know where I got onto that. It's getting dark. I'm getting ready for Christmas. Christmas lights are already out because we didn't take them down last year, but I almost put on Christmas earrings today just because I'm ready, but it's only the 9th of November, so I'm waiting a little bit longer. Where was I going with all of this? All right, no idea. I'm a bit excited. It is a Sunday afternoon here. I don't normally record on a Sunday, but Tuesday is a public holiday here, so the kids are off school on Monday, and this week is just not a normal week. I'm not going to have a chance to record this week in a normal time. So, husbands with kids downstairs, if I get interrupted, I get interrupted. Let's talk knitting. First thing is stats for October. I finished one thing, and that is the thing that I shared on last week's episode that I completely forgot about until the end of the episode. And that is my orange stripy socks. And they were a total of, let me check, 66 grams. So yarn out for October, 66 grams. That's nothing. I really tried to finish my Mystery MusiKAL by the end of October, but I actually added a bit onto the end of Clue 4. You're meant to do 3 brioche rows, and I did 4 brioche rows, which added a couple of days. So if I'd done the 3, I would have finished on the Thursday that I was trying to finish on, so the end of the 4 weeks of the Mystery MusiKAL. As it was, I finished on, I think it was the Saturday, but it was November 1st. So I tried to finish it on the Thursday, and then I was like, all right, I didn't do that, but let's try and finish it on the Friday and get it into October stats. and I still didn't. So I did finish it on the 1st of November. It felt really great to get that off and jump into some other things that I had been waiting to do. So let's start with the Mystery MusiKAL. It is big. All right, where are we at to? Let's do it this way. So this is, it's the Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West that he hosts every year. These scallops are clue 1. They were finished last time. It's even. All the ends are tied in and it's blocked. I haven't trimmed off the ends since I blocked it, but they're all tied in and it's blocked. So these are the scallops from clue 1. And then clue 2 is these waves down to this light blue one, which are bigger on one end and thinner on the other. And those two definitely merge together well. They look good together. Well, then clue 3 came, which is this. Yes, the diamonds and the woven part are all clue 3. I love them together, but in my opinion, they don't really go with this. Very organic, natural, very geometric, bright. I wasn't sure, and I spoke about this a bit last episode, so I'm not going to go into it a huge amount again now. But clue 4 is this giant brioche border. So the clue that as is written is 1, 2, 3. And it says you can finish after any, or if you want to go bigger, you can add more. Because I had 4 skeins plus a 50-gram skein of mohair that I had peppered throughout, I ended up starting clue 4 with a lot more yarn than Stephen had. Even though I did go up in needle size. I did 3.75 millimeter, not 3.5 millimeter, like the pattern says, because my gauge is generally tighter than Stephen's. I still had a lot of yarn left. So I did manage to do a 4th row of brioche here and then bind off. In the bind off, I actually used every single bit that I had of this purple. It's a variegated purple. You'll see it better here, this one. I used every single bit and had to, you can see here, I changed for just the last little bit to a pink. It means on the back you still have that line of the purple because you do knit one way and then bind off on the back. So you've just got that little pop of purple in the back. I don't mind. I did choose the colour that I thought, well, basically this one here has the blue and the orange. I'd run out of purple. I didn't want part of it to just have that really dark blue on both parts, and so that left the pink as hadn't been used in the last few colours. And I had plenty of it. So that's it. I did it. It is huge. I'm not sure I'm even going to be able to, like, that gives you an idea. It gives you the 4 clues all together, kind of coming down to a point here. It is huge with blocking and the extra as well. It was, yeah, it was big. I think I mentioned it all last week, but I did pepper in orange, like I did orange here. My mohair I did here. I didn't put any in clue 2. And then in clue 3, I peppered in some, which I held the mohair double with itself. And then somewhere I held it double with the pink. And so then for this part of clue 3, I held the mohair double with the pink for all of the background. And then clue 4, this one is held double with itself. And on the back of the last one, it's held double with itself. So it did give me a lot of extra yardage, really, because it meant that all my other colours had a little bit of a boost where I'd used it instead of that colour. In terms of wearing this, I'm not entirely sure. Hang on. Very bright green dress today. Like, I can definitely rug up in it. I did the extra so that it would, let's see, if I do it at the right spot, it goes deeper. So you can see there, that's nicely over the small of my back, which is here, down to my butt. So I can definitely rug up on in this on a cold day. Not a problem. So I'll probably keep this for around the house. It is big for a shawl, like a scarf shawl, but it is also very drapey and beautiful. So maybe one day I will go out into the cold wearing it like that. But because of the shape, the ends are quite long. It's flexible. I really do like it. I'm really happy that I did it. There were times through it where I thought maybe the orange was too bright, or maybe I shouldn't have used it in a certain way. But overall, like, I love the way that the colours all mix together when I'm wearing it. And it was fun. I did have a few moments of just let it go. Like, have fun knitting it. Don't try and figure out if this is going to work in the end product. So like these held doubles, I was, the diamonds, I was a bit iffy if I should have done that or not. But overall, in the end, it was fun to make and I will use it. It's probably my second favourite that I've done. Shawlography I love, and I got a hole in it and I need to mend it. Twists and turns I basically never wear. I did it out of a merino silk, and it's just not warm enough for this area, plus it's super long and scarfy, not shawly, so it just is awkward to wear. Like, I can put it around my neck 3 times or something. And then last year's, I guess I use Geo Gradient. I do use that one around the house as a shawl. And then last year was, I don't even remember what it's called. It was 2 colours. Whatever it was, I did it like forest green and mustard. And I was imagining forest green with accents of mustard, and it really is just a green and yellow shawl, which is Australian sport colours, so it just reminds me of sport still. But I do wear it, I just haven't sewn the ends in and blocked it. So, all that to say, I really, really like this one. A short history of my shawls. And I will wear this, but I am going to take it off right now because, oof, that is warm with all that mohair. And I'm pulling stitches already. Isn't that great? Alright, so good to know that might happen. Let's talk about the yarn used for that one. I dropped them on the floor. I used Miss Nitsky Bamberino, which is 60% superwash merino, 25% bamboo, 15% nylon. It is sold as a sock yarn, but it's just a fingering weight yarn, so 400 meters, 100 grams. And this is colour Brooklyn 99. Which I don't watch the show, but I liked the colour. And so that was colour A. Colour B was, I'm going to keep dropping this, aren't I? Was Drops Flora, which is alpaca and wool. Do I have 65% wool, 35% alpaca? And that was colour B and colour C. One of them is 21 and the other is 34, but I can't tell you which is which because I don't remember. I just have the tags. So it was colour B and C. Colour D was the variegated purple that I do not have anymore of. Like, I used every last inch, but that is Wren and Ollie in the colour Teacup. I don't even know if you can see that. Wren and Ollie. The colour is Teacup. And that is an 85-15 superwash merino and nylon. This is how much yarn I had. The shawl weighed 440 grams. And I'm not quite sure how, because I still have like odds and ends. But anyway. And the final one is the mohair dare. Where do I put all these things? Which is wool and colour hand-dyed yarn. And it is Kid Mohair Silk, which is 72 mohair, 28% silk, 50 grams, 420 metres, in colour 113. So yeah, that one is as bright as it's showing up there. It's a very bright fluoro corally orange, which worked great. I'm so happy that I had it. I am debating next year not doing a merino, but we'll see. All right. Oh, hang on. Here we go. I have blue wrapped around a tag. So the blue is colour 34, which means the pink is the colour 21 if you're interested. That is my Mystery MusiKAL shawl. And I started that on the 5th of October and I finished it on the 1st of November. Now the cast on date was, I think the 3rd was when the clue came out. I was away for the weekend, so I started it 2 days late. So I finished it 2 days late. Does that count? I did catch up in the middle, so it's not like I was behind the whole way. So I don't think it counts. Anyway, take it as you will. All right, the next thing that I have to show you is a little bit, hang on, I'm going to have a cup of tea. I haven't got Christmas earrings on, but I have got some Christmas mugs out. All right, what was happening? Something was going on. My daughter got sick. She had strep throat. It was a public holiday here, so everything was shut. Yes, another public holiday. Everything was shut, and I tried to get her an online medical appointment, and they weren't calling me back. And I tried, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and they didn't call me back. And 12 hours later, they called me back. And I was asleep because I'd been awake all night with my daughter. So I tried again for another medical appointment, and I did not want to leave my phone. I was like, if I put my phone down and walk to another room, they're going to call me, and I'm not going to know, and I'm going to miss a second appointment, and my daughter just needs antibiotics. So I decided to make a phone cozy. And it's something I'd been toying with the idea of for a while, is like this dress that I have, the only pocket is here, and I have a few dresses that don't have pockets, which is stupid, and I am slowly adding them to things that I wear a lot that I can add to. But what I was wearing that day, I didn't have pockets in my dress, and I decided phone cozy was the way to go about that, so I could carry my phone with me wherever I went. So I came up to my yarn room. Oh yeah, I'm in a different place today. Did I say it was because of the light? It's because of the light. This house is so dark. This was the brightest corner, and I still had to add extra lights. Gosh. Yeah, so I came up to my craft room and was like, I'm just going to find some yarn, some scraps that I can do a little crochet yarn cozy. And then I had the thought of, rather than doing scraps and a crochet yarn cozy, why don't I have a look through my yarn swatches and see if there's one that I can turn into a yarn cozy. And I had 2 swatches for my sea glass sweater. So that was one, and that was the other. Actually, this one on the back was bigger, and so you can see there are 2 blues here. So the light blue was on the back and the dark blue was on the front, and down here there are also 2 purples. So this purple was on the small one and this one was on the big one. And so I toyed with different ways to do it, but I finally thought if I just sew them into a tube, so I did a crochet stitch join, sewed it into a tube, and then because it was sea glass sweater, both swatches had these frayed ends on both ends. So one end I tied the front and the back together, and then I trimmed the fringe to make it more even. And on the other end, I tried a few different ways, and it kept stretching out. And so I ended up tying knots just on the single side so I could keep it open. And then folding them down and doing just a running stitch over them to try and keep them folded down. And it's not perfect, and some of them come up, but it works well enough. And then I got some yarn scraps from my sock yarn that I thought would have enough of the colour match with the scraps in here. And I just crocheted a strap for it. I did know that the strap was going to stretch, so when I tried it on, I stretched it. It's just 4 stitches of a half double crochet, I think is how you say it. half double crochet. It's where you go over, yarn over, go through, pick one up, and then instead of pulling it through 2 separate times, you pull it through all of them at the same time. And so that is how I did the cord. So I just did 4, chain 1, and then did it the other way, chain 1, did it the other way. Yeah, super duper easy. It has been very, very practical. And it used 40 grams of yarn, 41 grams of yarn, because this is all 1 by 1 color work. And so I'm counting it because I don't normally count swatches as yarn out of my stash. I just have a bag. I don't generally swatch, to be honest, but I have a bag that if I have swatched, I put them in there. And I had a vague idea of turning them into a sweater or a blanket or something at some point. Foam cozy. Yeah, I love it. And the other day I went for a quick walk with my hubby and I did have a pocket, or I didn't have my phone, one of the two. And so I just put a little ball of yarn in here and knit socks as I was walking, and it was so handy. So I'm actually considering making another one slightly bigger so that it's a bit easier to have a skein of yarn, maybe bigger and shorter. That size would be good. Anyway, so this is my phone cozy for if I don't have pockets and I just want my phone with me that I can easily pull out. Really, really fun. And I loved doing it. I did end up, to finish the 6th story, I did end up getting a phone call while I was in the middle of making this. And so I didn't need it. I didn't use it for that, but I did finish making it that day. And I have used it multiple times since. So this one I started and finished on the 2nd of November. Yeah, I've got my little yarn diary here. And I won't show you today, but I have purchased a new book. I mentioned previously that I didn't like the paper in this one. I have purchased a new book that has much nicer paper that I will use for the next however many years. It is not a pre-printed one, so I'm in the process of drawing up the pages that I want so that I have this kind of pre-done for every month, because at the moment I'm doing it every month as I come to it. Sidetracked again. I'm going to get sidetracked a lot today, I think. All right. The next thing I have to show you, and this one, my dear father, if you are watching, skip ahead, get mum to skip ahead. Yeah. I should mention my daughter got antibiotics and she's better now. But this one is for my dear father. So, bye Dad. I showed here a couple of episodes ago, I think, maybe it was last episode, but I showed here a vest that I made for my dad. No, sorry, a vest that my granddad made for my dad and that I mended when he was visiting me here. And it was a navy blue vest with some white colour work on it, and we could not find the right yarn to match it. So he said, I just want it done, and if you could make it longer, that would be great. So I couldn't just sew up the bits that needed mending. I needed to find enough yarn, and I ended up taking 150 grams of fingering weight held double to finish the vest. But when my mum and I had gone to a yarn show and we were trying to find yarn to match it, and we found a few options, and there was one that we found that would have been okay. And even knitting it up now, I'm like, it probably would have been as good, if not better, than what we ended up using. But for reasons, we didn't use it. And when we were deciding what to do with it, Dad's like, oh, you can keep it and turn it into a Carlton beanie for me. Carlton is a Australian rules, Aussie rules football team in Australia. And it's the team that my dad and granddad went for. So I had this yarn. This is what I've got left. We bought 150 grams. I did show this last week. It's Pasquale Sayama. It's Bolivian llama and virgin wool blend, and I'm probably butchering both Pasquale and Sayama. But there you go, Pasquale. It is 50% wool, 50% baby llama. So great. It's, 50 grams, 112 meters. So DK weight, solidly DK. This is what I have left from making the beanie. And this is the beanie. Now, muscle burra is you cast on. I did a just cast on stitches, split it over the 2 needles, started in magic loop and came back and closed up the end. And that is the cast on end, and you can't tell, like, it's the hole is closed. But you do that, you do the increases, you knit, you do the decreases, you finish it up. This is the colour for Carlton. Carlton's name are the blues, so blue, the navy blues. Really, really super easy. I've made, I don't even know how many muscle burras now, 15, maybe more. And then when you're ready, you just fold it inside itself. And then you have a double thickness hat. And then you can fold the brim up as well if you want, so that it's, you can have a brimmed hat, you can have it long and slouchy. Well, because Dad said he wanted a blues hat, and the navy blues are just navy, like there's not 2 colours, it's blue and white, but I didn't want to stripe a white in. But I did think, actually, my granddad had done, for the vest, he had done a logo. And so I'd taken a photo of it up close, and then I adjusted it, so you can see my trial and errors here, and then what I ended up going with. It stands for Carlton Football Club. So I did that, and then I duplicate stitched it on. Because I was taking it as a travel project, I didn't want to try and do colour work, and because I just wanted one logo at the front, I just wanted it there. I didn't want to have to do colour back and forth. And so I duplicate stitched, and I am super duper happy with how that turned out. Super duper duper happy. It is larger than the ones on the vest. The vest ones were maybe 2/3 the size. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I did make it slightly shorter, I think. So he can still pull up the brim. I did afterwards, after I'd started, I thought maybe I should have done it a little bit higher, so that if he has the brim up wider, it won't hide it. But you know what? He's got his hat and he can wear it how he wants, and he will have the matching beanie and vest. And then he has yarn also that we tried to buy for the vest online, and it did not work well, that he's turning into a scarf. It was bulky. I don't work with bulky. So the blue is the Bolivian llama, and then the white is this one, which is Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury Frost. 8-ply, which it's always quite chunky for an 8-ply. It's 200 grams, 400 meters. And so I used that for the duplicate stitch here, and it's the same yarn that I used for the white stripes on the vest. So they are a nice matching pair, and I'm very, very happy to give this to him. And I was going to make him wait for a present, but then I just realised that they bought the yarn. So I might just send it back with, I have a parcel going soon with a couple of Christmas presents, so I might just send it there and he can have it soon. All right, done. The next thing, I started that one. Let's see, I am keeping this in case I need to do more cotton things later. I started that one on the 1st of October and finished it on the 4th of November. Now, I have to say, guys, I had a moment where I was like, I could finish something like every day in November, because I finished the MCAL on the 1st, I finished the Phone Cozy on the 2nd. I knew that if I pushed that, I could finish it on the 3rd, but I decided not to, that I actually wanted to work on other things as well, rather than try and get a finish every day for the first 5 or 6 days. So I didn't. I have been working on a variety of things, but I had a moment of, can I just finish everything? We'll get to that in a minute. So this next one I started on the 31st of October. It is a shawl. I have a friend who is sick, was meant to be a little bit sick and has just kind of kept getting worse and worse and worse. Meant to be, that's not right. Had something happen that should have resolved rather quickly, and it hasn't. And so I decided to make her a shawl. This is the Odyssey shawl by fibre. It's a free pattern. She does say in it, it's not free, it's a thank you for all of the people who supported me over the years. But you don't have to pay for it. It's a gift back to the community. So I downloaded that. I did adjust. It's for a DK weight, and the idea is you get 3 different colours of yarn, and so you have 3 sections, and each section is slightly shorter because you're getting more stitches and using more yarn. And so you get this kind of layered effect that kind of, I think, reminds her of the Hills of Ireland, if I remember the blurb correctly. I didn't do that. I had 3 colours, one of which is now finished. Here we go. fibre Odyssey. And you can see her colour gradient in her shawl, and hers is quite a lot bigger than mine. I used Bendigo Woolen Mills again. This is luxury 4-ply. And I don't have the tags. This one, I don't even know what I bought it from, but I clearly rewound it. And I have like less than 50 grams left now. This one was a full ball when I started, so it's, I don't know how much at the moment, but still close on 200 grams, I would say. And then the other one I had as a scrap from a different shawl that I made years ago, and I used all of it up. It was really enjoyable. So here is my shawl. Now you can probably see there is a slight colour difference between the 2 blues. So I used all of this one up, changed the red, which was actually where the pattern said to change as well for the lace, or to start the lace. That was fine. Changed for the red, and then when I came back, I used the other blue. There is a more noticeable difference in colour in person. In this lighting, it's actually pretty similar, but if you're in sunlight, it is quite noticeably different. And then the lace there. I did modify it a bit. So because it's fingering weight that I use, not DK weight, I went down to 4mm needles. I then followed the pattern exactly, except that when it said do the first lace repeat, I didn't do the lace repeat. I just kept doing the garter stitch with the normal patterning for the garter stitch section. I did figure out how many extra rows I'd need to do to get to the lace section, the second lace section, because I wasn't changing colours. And it was 18 extra rows, extra pattern repeats, extra garter rows. So I think it was total 52 before the lace section. However, I then realised that the lace section starts with a purl row, which, if you're changing colours at that point, gives you a weird, noticeable colour change. So what I ended up doing was I knit an extra row of the garter section in the new colour and then changed. The next time, I knit one less row of the garter stitch and did the last row of the garter stitch section with the new colour. But for this one, I wasn't going to frog it back. I knew it was going to keep growing and continuing to grow. And so I just, when it said place the marker, I placed the marker 2 stitches in from where it said to account for those extra 2 stitches that I would have on the needles from an extra row. So it worked out fine, but if you're doing it and you want to make it simpler for yourself, just change to the lace colour for the last 2 rows of the garter stitch section so that you have that clean colour break. Other than that, I did do an extra couple of rows in this section than what it said. I'm not even sure how many. Maybe only an extra 1 row here. But with the extra there, I didn't actually follow the pattern for where to do the lace work because I knew that it wasn't going to line up. What I did was I figured out where my center was because I knew the pattern repeat is this. And so I figured out where that was and I dropped down to figure out where that would be on the closest one to the edge here. So I dropped down to figure out where that would be and then I counted the rows, I think it's 14 is the stitches for the pattern repeat. So I counted that across and I managed to fit 2 extras in with the stitches that I had. And so I put the place marker here and then proceeded to follow the pattern exactly. The other thing is because when I got to the end, I had different amount of stitches. The picots in the pattern come here and in the, can I even do this? Come in the middle of these little, I don't even know if this is gonna work to show you. In the middle of these little sunburst bits, these ones here, the picot comes here and that helps continue that the rhythm of the shawl. Because I had a different amount of stitches, they came in a different spot and it is what it is. They still drop regularly, they just drop regularly differently to where they drop in the pattern and I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it. So this one is still quite good for around as a shawl and I have to say it's a good size for this. Fingering weight, the size, the same stitches as in the pattern basically, but fingering weight, it's a good size for just having around your neck, to the point where I'm thinking of making one for me now. Or you can wear it over your shoulders and give you some warmth. Which, yeah, for this person, she has a lot of doctor's appointments at the moment, and so just having something, see, that's beautiful, I love that. Something she can rug up in and just have a bit of a hug when she's facing what she's facing. So I really did work on this one a lot this week. That's why you didn't see it as a work in progress at all, because I just wanted to get it done so that I can give it to the person that I'm going to give it to, and looking at that, maybe make one for me as well. Yeah, Odyssey Shawl by Joji Locatelli, Bendigo Woolen Mills yarn. Beautiful, beautiful. It just blocked out beautifully. It was quite stiff yesterday when I was looking at it. Colours are doing funny things. But yeah, it blocked out beautifully and I'm very excited to give that one away. They are all my finished objects, but I do have quite a few whips to show you. I have 3 things that I've been working on, but I've got a few extra things to show you on top of that. So get excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. All right, this one I have shown you recently and I've done a lot more work on them and I'm very, very excited. This is in a bag that was a gift. Thank you, Tasha. Handmade by people, some women in Timor-Leste. And so it was a gift from my friend who had visited there before she visited me. These are my Stardew Valley socks. This one is not even attached to yarn right now, and I will explain why. These are the socks. Look at that. I finished both heels. Both heels are done. I just have the foot to go. So these are Stardew Valley socks. They're inspired by Stardew Valley, the game. And these are the spring ones. There has been a pattern update. I haven't downloaded the pattern update, so I don't know if it's what it's changed. But this is what I've done so far. I love them. Knitting them has been interesting because I'm learning a lot. I haven't done many colourwork socks, and this is a lot of colourwork. So I did, this is the first one. Yeah, I started it doing it traditional stranded colourwork, and then I changed to jacquard, and jacquard completely changed, letterback jacquard, which completely changed how I found the experience. So all of this down here is letterback jacquard. The clouds on this one are maybe finished on letterback. Yeah, the last bit of the clouds are letterback, but the top is stranded colourwork. And I notice very much where the colourwork is versus letterback. Letterback, I'm not an expert, so I can tell you a couple of things, but go Google it. I'll try and remember to put a tutorial below that I've been using. I will try to remember. But letterback jacquard is where you actually create an extra stitch. And so instead of catching the yarn as you go across, you're actually knitting a second layer of fabric on the back. That is, it's not attached except for where the yarn swaps over, and so you're knitting in the front. And so it means that you don't have bits of the colour peeking through because it's not caught in what you're knitting. It's actually a completely separate layer of fabric, if you will. And so you don't have any of those peeps of colourwork showing through like you do with stranded colourwork. It worked really well, particularly for the clouds, where they are just, here we go, this is the second sock, and you can see these extra stitches coming down like the whole, except for this little section, like all of these bits in the clouds, all of this bit in the mountain has that second layer of fabric, and then it stops here and goes into traditional stranded colourwork style. Game changer. If I just do that, you can see the clouds there. I don't know if you can see the difference, but I can see a big difference in the colour of them and how they're working. Anyway, I finished both heels. The way I was working on it was doing one section with one, and when that colour finished on that one, doing the previous section with the other one, so that I was keeping them concurrent. That stopped working around the heel because the colours kind of keep going, and because particularly this light green you're using for most of the foot, there wasn't any good time where I could cut it and go back and do the other sock to the same point because something was always being carried, and so I didn't do that. I've now just started working on the one sock. So that's my the foot of this sock, how much I've done from, oh, here we go. So that's the heel. That's how much of the foot I've done on the first sock. The second sock is still at the heel. So my plan now is to finish this complete sock and then go back and do the second sock. I had a moment of maybe I'll try and do like one motif a day or 10 rows a day. I think I'm going to have to do a few extra rows. I'm doing the size large, but the size large and extra large like patterns, I don't think are going to be large enough for the person I'm making them for. So I may have to do an extra motif or do a larger toe, which is what the pattern says. They just say do like knit straight with your toe colour until you're ready to do the toe. I am knitting them inside out. I've mentioned it here before. I find the tension better for colourwork, and I'm also using 9mm. Are they? Sorry, 9-inch circular, 2.5mm. So still my normal sock size, but 9-inch circular rather than magic loop. I find because the colourwork is carried on the outside, it just gives a much smoother finish. I don't have any awkward places where I'm trying to carry it from one needle to the second needle. It's smoother. So this is my first sock that is this involved that I've done. I've learnt a lot doing it, and I'm not going to stay away from them in the future, but this has been going for over a year. So that gives you an idea of how quickly I've been working on it. However, I am hoping to get that done by, if not Christmas, by February, because February birthday for this person. Yeah, they are my Stardew Valley spring socks. I'm very, very happy with how they're going. And I'm making steady progress. Yay, that feels good. That is my second oldest yarn whip that isn't a blanket. So that feels really good. All right, the next thing that I have here to show you is another one that I've been making progress on. Not as much in the last week as I have previously, but let me show you. I actually may not even remember where I was last time. Did I put the thing on? Oh no, that's decent progress. I take it back. This is my Ellie sweater, which is not going to sit nicely because the sleeve stitches are on the same try-it-on cord, so it's going to be a bit awkward. This is Ellie's sweater by S Knits. I have done the body almost completely. Last time I showed you, we were up here, and so I finished it's a split hem, so I split for the hem, and I've done the front hem with the colour pop for the bind off, and I am maybe halfway through the back hem, maybe a bit more. I'm considering doing the back just slightly longer than the front. The pattern has them both to be the same, and I think I actually stopped the front slightly early so that I could do the back to pattern and have it just slightly longer. I did do the tubular bind off for the hem. I don't always do tubular bind off when things tell me to, but I did this time partly because I didn't follow the pattern for one thing. When I started the new colour, instead of doing the ribbing row as it said, I just knit one row plain so that I would have that clean breaking colour, same as I did with the, what other thing was I doing? The shawl. To get the clean breaking colour, I don't like to purl on the row that I change colour. I like to knit the entire row. So I did that, and then because it's only 2 rows of colour before you bind off, it was kind of flicking up when I started binding off, and I didn't want that little pop of colour to sit funny. When I undid the cast off, I tried it a couple of different ways. I tried going up a needle size to make it loose. I tried going down a needle size to make it tighter. It just kept kind of flicking out. So I went back and did the bind off as it said in the pattern, and it worked, and it isn't flaring, and I'm very happy with that little pop. I am, yeah, like I said, maybe halfway through the ribbing on the back, and then I've just got sleeves to go, and this is done. Oh, I'm so hopeful that I can get this done in October. Now, I've said it before, tracking things makes me want to do things to get tracking data done. Let me say that a different way. When I track grams out, I want to finish big projects so I can get lots of grams out. And after October, where I got 66 grams or whatever it was, I'm like, I need to get lots more in November. I don't track what comes in. I'm tossing up whether I do that next year, but at the moment I don't track yarn in because I found tracking yarn in, tracking how much I had in and out, made me choose the big projects, the chunky projects, rather than the things that take a lot of time. And I'm noticing that at the moment. Now, do I want to do all of my knitting, trying to get big chunky things off the needles? No, I don't. Am I okay with doing that for this month? Yes, I am. And let me tell you why. I, in my knitting books, have limited room to write things down. Limited room. I could do whips over 2 pages, but because I rewrite every month what I'm currently working on, I don't want it to be over 2 pages. I don't want to be writing over 20 things in a book every month. That just doesn't sound interesting to me. And I've debated doing one long list that I can just add to throughout the year and cross off as I finish. But then I just get overwhelmed because it's so much. I've loved. I've done this for 3 years now, maybe 4. Every month starting fresh with what I'm working on that month. It's been great. These brown ones in the middle are my 12 cast-ons from this year. And as I've already said, I am doing 12 cast-ons again, which means I'm going to have another 12 projects added to this coming January, another 12 every month that I'm writing down. And I don't have room for another 12. I also don't have enough needles to start another 12 projects. I will run out of needles. I won't be able to do them. And so I was trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to finish some things, and that's okay. And I'm going to use my momentum that I've started this month. I've already used over 700 grams. I'm going to use that momentum to keep finishing a whole lot of stuff this month so that I can make some room in my book. I can make some room in my craft cupboard. I won't have as many bags hanging around, just kind of a clearing month, so that when I come to 12 cast-ons after Christmas, I am excited and ready to go. I may end up this month, I still have some things that I'm hoping to work on that I haven't started. I'll talk about them in a bit. So I may end up having to do like an extra list over here or something to just give myself a bit of extra room. Or, because it's not pre-filled, I could go on to the next page. I'll think about it. I'd probably do it here. But my point is that I want to finish things for that reason, not just the grams. And it's just coinciding nicely for that. There is something I'm going to show you that I'm hoping to get finished that is not going to be friendly on the grams. It's going to take a lot of time. It's lace weight held double, but I still want to get it done, and I'll talk to you about that in a few. But yeah, so this is the thing that's making me go, you know what? If I'm wanting to finish things to get grams high this month, that's fine, because I'm also wanting to finish things to clear off my needles and make some space. And it's like, it's working. That's 4 things already that are gone. So that means I've got room for 7 new things. We'll get there. I've also got December, but December I'll be doing Advent. So all that to say, this is getting close. I'm hoping to finish at least the hem in the next couple of days. That shouldn't be too hard. And pick up the sleeve. And once the sleeve is picked up, I can do that during my Polish classes. I can do that very easily here and there. I read in the mornings while I knit, so I can do sleeves while I'm reading. Yeah, it'll become easy, easy, easy. This yarn I'm also using Miss Knitsky. This is the Macarena DK, and it is Midsummer Night, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. I am doing everything to pattern, length to pattern. I did try it on at one point to decide whether I wanted to change the depth of the yoke, and it was fine. So I'm really excited to actually get this done and locked and wear it and have a nice big squishy jumper. That was just so warm and so soft. The contrast colour is Malabrigo. I don't have the tag, I don't think. It's Anniversario is the colour, I believe. And I don't remember the actual yarn, but it is Malabrigo. I don't have the tag in here anymore, I don't think. So that is Ellie's sweater. That was a 12 cast on from this year. I've only done it 1 year so far, and I'm really, really excited to get that one done. I'm not going to get all of the 12 cast ons off the needles before the next lot. Not going to happen. I think I had a little look the other day. If I can finish that one, there's another jumper that I'm also on the bottom ribbing and just have to do sleeves for, and then I have a pair of socks that I could possibly get those 3 done. And there is a colourwork tee, which I've only just started, but it's a t-shirt. It's not going to take that long. Like most of it is vanilla knitting, so I reckon I could do it. So maybe I could get another 4 finished before January, but that's a stretch goal at the moment. This one, let's see if I can get it done by the end of November. All right, The next thing that I have to show you, I don't even have to show you, and that's fine. I'm not going to go grab them. I forgot one of my whips. It's in my bag because I took them to church this morning. It's a pair of socks. It's Van Gogh socks. I will show you next week. Next time, hopefully they'll be done. But I'm not going to go downstairs and grab them right this second. We're going to let the kids be happy. I'm not going to interrupt them. All right. So they're all the things that I've worked on since last time. The Van Gogh socks, I finished the first sock and I've started the second. So I have made progress, but I'm still on, like I've just started. I finished the cuff and I've just started the leg of the second sock. So hopefully they'll be done by next time, but they haven't been a concentrate knit. They've just been in the background. I did want to talk to you though about a few things, and one of them I've just realized I didn't even look up. I have decided I'm going to do a crochet blanket for Advent. I cannot remember the name of the pattern. So again, future Kirsty, try and remember to put something up. Otherwise, I'll talk to you about it another time. But it is a crochet pattern that I think was designed for Advents. And my only question is, am I doing it held single or held double? If I do it held single, fingering weight held single, it's actually quite a small blanket, more of a baby blanket, kid blanket size. So I'm considering holding it double, but then the colours will be more blendy. And so I'm kind of purity of colour, or yeah, I haven't quite decided that. But I think I will do it. And I was debating doing 24 or 25 squares and doing 5x5 or 6x4. And again, I think I'm going to do 6x4 because our Advent is Jane Austen, and there are 6 books, and so every book has 4 colours, and so having a line per book just makes me happy. So I'm going to do that. There are 12 different designs, and so in the Advent or the blanket design, it's that you do 2 of every block, and then you have 24 total. I am not going to do all of them. I'm going to take out a couple of the plain ones and keep the more intricate lacy ones done, because again, Jane Austen inspired. And so I think I've got 8 that I've chosen that I'm going to do, and so I'm going to do 3 each of those 8, and figure it out from there, figure out layout and everything else. And yeah, I'm not sure about a joining colour yet. I may dye one myself, I may buy one. I think it's 300 grams, and I don't have 300 grams of anything that will work for that. I just thought of something that's not set aside as a sweater quantity that I do have 300 grams of. Not going to work. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do for Advent. Thank you for people who gave me some ideas. It is crochet, which means I should be able to do it every day. My concern is that it will use up the yarn required is all that I have. So if I do it, my gauge is off or something, then I could run into some trouble. But I'm hoping that it will be okay. And since I shared it with some other people in my Advent swap, they are also debating doing the same project. So we may have a few of these Jane Austen blankets going around, which make me very, very happy. The other thing I wanted to mention, is the finishing frenzy. So Ange from Yarn and Yarns, who hosts the 12 cast-ons, is also doing a finishing frenzy, because she, like me, or I like her, whichever way you want to look at it, she has a lot of things on her needles and is hoping to clear some of them off before 12 cast-ons again happens. So I've jumped on board with her finishing frenzy, and I have made quite a bit of progress, but there are a couple of things that I've put aside to try and finish this month that I hadn't worked on yet, so I haven't shown you, because I've been working on the shawl that's a gift, because I've been working on the MusiKAL. I haven't actually had time to focus on everything that I've said that I will. So I have a couple of things here to show you. The first one is I have an itchy nose, probably mohair, maybe alpaca. I get itchy noses sometimes. This is the lace weight held double shawl that I mentioned. It is the Awesome Gossamer from Stephen West. and having done, here we go. That is what it looks like. It's all like a mohair or alpaca or something held double. And I'm not very far through, like at all. I'm even in the middle of a row. What is this? Sorry, guys. That's all I've done. Like, I'm very, very early on. I think I've done, yeah. Oh, am I even? I'm in the middle of a bobble row. So this side has bubbles and this side does not. Very, very early on. It's like a cloud. It is so soft. This is Suri Alpaca Mohair from Watch Give War Me. Oh, that is delightful. I've been debating getting some more of this for another project or two and feeling this again. I'm like, yes, I am definitely doing that. It is delightfully soft. I wish you could feel it. This is a shawl that my husband saw someone else making when I was watching a podcast and said, you can make me that. And then we picked, we looked at photos and he picked these colours, and then I had to go and find where to buy them. And so I found a place that I could get them. He thinks it looks like an owl, and because these bobble stitches will be, like, as it goes out, it does look a bit like feathers. So this is going to be his owl shawl. My husband likes owls, but if you're buying him presents, don't buy him owls. He doesn't like figurines of owls or owls on things. He likes actual living owls. But he did like this as reminding him of owl feathers. So he's asked a few times how the shawl is going, and I've been working on other shawls and not on this one. So it is on my list to hopefully get this done by Christmas. But that's a lot of knitting in slippery lace weight held double. It is fun to work on. I think I just need to get a little bit further into it so it becomes an easy knit rather than having to focus on it as much as I am right now. So that is on my finishing frenzy list. And this next one, guys, this one I started this time last year as a test for my Advent dress. And I think I mentioned it last time, maybe not. I was wearing my Advent dress last episode. But this one I made for my daughter, and I wasn't sure if it would still fit her. And I had every intention of taking it out and frogging it. And so I put it on my finishing frenzy list to frog. And then today when I was thinking of recording, I was like, maybe do I take up the things that are on my list that I haven't worked on as well? And I was like, yeah, I will. And so I pulled this out, and my daughter was sitting there, and I said, look, just try it on. It was already on Try It On Court because I'd clearly done this before. And I remember last time I got her to try it on, it did fit. But I was like, this is months later, it's not going to fit now. So I pulled it out and I got her to try it on, and it does fit. It still fits. Like, I am so excited. It's got quite a lot of movement in it. It's stretchy. So this is, let's see, Drops Alpaca Silk. No, Drops Kid Silk. Held double with, so this is the Drops Kid Silk. This is Knitting for Olive, I think it's merino cotton. Merino. Knitting for Olive merino, which is in colour Dusty Aqua, 250 metres for 50 grams. So it's pretty good length on these ones. And so I'm holding them double. And then when I was striping in colours, and so I'm holding it double in between colours, and when I'm striping in colours, I'm just holding that colour single. I have done some increases. There's no pattern for this dress, I should say. This is the test for my dress, which also didn't have a pattern. So I just did less stitches. So I started increasing to get a skirt that was a bit puffy. And so as I increased for the stitches, I started doing less stitches for the stripe and more stitches for the background colour. So this one I did 5 rows, not stitches, 5 rows for the mini and 2 rows for the background colour, and then down here we've got 4 rows for the mini and 3 for the background colour. I'll probably continue with that to the end. These are minis that I got in a swap, and so I knew that I had them, but they were 10 gram minis, so I didn't have much of them. Trying it on my daughter today, it fit her. She said, "Mum, that's so comfy." She loves all the fluffy things, but it is very, very short. I need to add another 8 inches because my daughter is tall. So I've still got another, like, I don't know how many colours that's going to be to add in 8 inches. And I don't have any more minis that came with this. So I think I'm going to go stash diving, see, if I can find some that will work, that I can just keep striping down in the dress, and that will go to much more pink place, which she'll be very happy about. Yeah, you can see I've got my try-it-on cord on still. So yeah, very happy that it fits. It's going to be a little bit more work than I expected, and I think I probably will do like cap sleeves for her. I think if she had this as a dress with long sleeves, she'd probably get too warm. I'm not sure. I'll think about that, but I will finish this dress. And because I was expecting it to be just a frogget and put it away, it's in my finishing frenzy. Doing another 8 rows and finding colours and stuff is a little bit more involved, but it's still a kid's dress and shouldn't be that hard to do. So I'm gonna, in fact, I might just put that one in there because that might work. So that is my plans for finishing frenzy in November. If I can get Ellie's sweater, if I can get that done and I can make progress on the Stardew Valley socks and the Awesome Gossamer shawl, that'd be great. Over here, you might see my little basket. I mentioned last week about socks, and I said I may do them, I may not, and someone very helpfully pointed out that was a pair of socks a week. And I thought, that's not going to happen. And it's probably not going to happen. But I also was like, I could just make them, because I'm going to finish the socks that I have on the needles now. I don't have another muscle burrow or something super simple on the needles, although that is also going to change. I have these that I bought thinking I might make some sparkly jumpers for my kids. They are Furry Shimmer Cake, acrylic polyester metallized fibre and polyamide, 250 grams, 600 meters. I bought them thinking I might make jumpers for my kids, but they're very soft, and I've changed my mind and I'm going to turn them into cowls for my kids. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the leftovers, but I'm going to make cowls, one for each of my kids, so that they have soft warmth around their necks, because they don't like wearing things around their necks much, but you need it. So I'm going to do that, and that'll be some easy knitting. Yeah. But other than that, I don't have easy knitting. That's not going to take too long. So I'm going to just start what I can with socks, and if I don't get them done in time, which I probably won't, they can just go into my present basket. I've been probably quite creepily looking at the feet of my kids' teachers to try and figure out how big they are in comparison to people's feet. And I think one of his teachers is about my size, one of them will be a bit smaller, and one will be a bit bigger. But I've equated them in my mind to people that I already knit socks for. So if I start knitting socks for them and I don't get them done in time, I can just give them to the other people who wear the same size sock. Yeah, that's my plan. So what I did was I pulled out my Christmas yarn. First I did have a look, and I pulled out a couple of skeins that would work for some of the teachers. I haven't wound them up. It's obviously something that will need to happen if I'm going to knit them, but I pulled them out just to start with. I also pulled out my Christmas yarns. Hang on. I also pulled out this one, which is not Christmas, but is also teacher in mind. Her favourite colour is pale blue. So I thought that could be fun. That is Spray by Lana Grossa spray, and it kind of should have this effect. We'll see if it does. It will change depending on tension. But other than that, I pulled out some Christmas yarn and some scraps that I had that were kind of Christmassy colours. And I thought, as I'm doing it, I can pull, when I pull out a skein, I can pull out a scrap to use for socks, for heels, so that I'm not interrupting the self-striping. So whenever I pull out something, maybe not this one, because this is sport weight, not fingering weight. But for everything else, as I pull it out, I'll just be like, is that going to go nicely? Is that going to have enough contrast? Whatever. And chuck it in the bag with the project. And so this one, it just makes me happy. Christmas yarn. But it means that as I'm wanting to knit something, when I'm ready for the next pair of socks, this is all wound up, so I can just grab it and go. The other thing that I was debating is doing woolly cuffs. I have some, I can't think of the word of it. It's like yarn that has loops around it. Works great if you're pretending to have sheep or something. Cannot remember the name of it. Anyway, I got some from, it's a Drops brand with alpaca. Boucle. I got some boucle for a jumper and I frogged the jumper. It wasn't working. It wasn't interesting to knit. Sorry, it wasn't relaxing to knit. It was like I was fighting with it, and the colour I wasn't happy with. The pattern was annoying, and I was just like, this is not going to happen. So I frogged it. But I now have boucle yarn, and so I was like, maybe if I use that like off-white boucle yarn to do cuffs, and then Christmas yarn for the rest, then it will be just like extra fun Christmassy socks. That's what I'm thinking. So I might do that. We'll see. But that's sitting there waiting for when I finish the pair of socks that I forgot to show you, I can pull out another project and work on it. And I'm so low key with expectations here. Like if I get one pair of socks knit between now and Christmas, I get one pair of socks knit. If I get 8 done, amazing. But it's just when I'm ready to do, I will pick up from here rather than going to my yarn closet and having a look and figuring out what. And also I have all this Christmas yarn and I never knit the Christmas yarn because I'm always so busy knitting Christmas presents on the lead up to Christmas that I don't knit the Christmas yarn. So this year I'm making the Christmas yarn the Christmas presents. Brilliant. And I get to knit Christmas yarn. I think that is all. Oh, I need to, whoops, let's not do that. I left the pattern out of one of my bags. I will mention most of the bags that I have, I made, there's a tutorial here if you're interested. It's a free tutorial. All the information is in that in terms of what you need, size, everything. There's not a separate pattern. So that will be linked below as well if you need some new project bags. Yeah, I think that's everything I have for you that's knitting related. Life-wise, we did go mushrooming with our teacher. It was delightful. I don't know if I mentioned we went mushrooming alone as well. Me and my husband, we went out one morning and we did find a few. And then we went out with our teacher and it was too cold for most of the mushrooms we were looking for, but we did find some kanya, which are, what are they called? Shaggy parasol mushrooms, I think is the English words for them, English name. Our teacher showed us how to tell if they're that variety or a different one, which is can give you indigestion. But we've now learned how to tell them apart, and we fried them up for dinner. It was really, really nice. We had them with goulash, and we found so many, so we were able to take some home for ourselves, and our teacher was able to take them home as well. And then at the end of that, I dropped my phone and shattered the screen. So then I had to go find a phone repair place and went to one place that I knew of, but they didn't do the phone that I had. I have a Motorola. It's not the most common phone, so then I found another place. They sent me to another place that could and got the screen fixed. My daughter's been sick, so we've had lots of home days with her, helping her get better. It's just been a little bit of a crazy week. This week and next week's going to be crazy as well. Very busy. So that is where I'm at. I can't think of anything else really. I kind of want to show you what I've done in my knitting journal, but I'm going to save that till next time. Partly because the phone is resting on it right now as part of my setup in this room, but partly because I've only done 2 pages and I haven't even done 1 monthly page. So I think I'll get at least 1 monthly page done and then I'll show you next time. But I am excited for all things Christmas. I did pull out Advent things and start working through the kids' Advent, like prepping it the other day. We use an Advent by Raising Disciples, which takes you through the Jesus Storybook Bible. And so every day you have a chapter of the Jesus Storybook Bible to read that correlates with a chapter or section of the Bible. And then there's activities, but it's not you have to do an activity on each day or whatever. It's you get to choose and put it together in a way that suits your family. And some of them are read a Christmas book or watch a Christmas movie. Some of them are make an ornament or go for a walk and see the Christmas lights. They're very flexible. And so I went through and picked 24 activities that will work with our lifestyle and what we're planning this year. And as I get a bit closer, what I'm going to do, which I've done before and worked really well, is I have a bag that I put a couple of things for that activity. So if it's like a Christmas bath, I can put some pom-poms and probably not glitter, but something that the kids would take into the bath for a Christmas bath in that bag, so that I don't have to. It works 2 ways. The kids get excited to open something and I don't have to go and source the things on the day. It's just made easier for me because all the things are done earlier, like Play-Doh Christmas, decorate biscuits. I could have, not sequins for biscuits, sprinkles and things in the bag, all ready to go. So that day we just have to get out the icing and decorate, whatever it is. I've done that. I did that once where everything was pre-planned and it worked brilliantly. I've done it once where it wasn't pre-planned and every day I was picking something that I thought I could do that day, and we didn't make it through the whole thing with activities. With the Bible reading we did, but not the activities. Last year, I don't even know what happened, but it just kind of flopped on day 2 and we didn't even do the whole Advent. I can't remember what was happening last year, but I remember it was just like, this isn't going to work, and we stopped. So this year I'm excited to get back to having it all planned out in advance, get the kids excited about it, as every day we have the Bible story in the morning and we'll generally do the activity after school when they have school. But yeah, having it all pre-planned, pre-packaged is super helpful. And so, am I going to do that? Last year I did an Advent for my husband as well, because I've got the yarn one. I do this for the kids and then my husband doesn't have anything. Sometimes I do a tea one. I might do that again this year. Anyway, I love Advents. And I also have a book by Ruth Chow Simmons, I think is her name, which is like a devotional Advent that I work through. And I've been debating making my own devotional Advent, but I haven't got around to it. So I'll do that one again this year. I did it last year and it was very good. So yeah, that's like 5 Advents maybe for a house of 4 people. I love Christmas. I love celebrating Jesus' birth. I love all the things that go with it. And in Poland, where everything is just dark, like I don't know how long it's been dark here, but it's dark. When everything just gets dark so early, it's just nice to have something when you're waking up in the dark that you're excited about, when you're going out to school in the dark that are like, yay! When you're coming home from school in the dark, yay! It's just nice to have things to look forward to. Yeah, anyway, I wasn't planning to talk about all that stuff about Advent, but there you go, something extra. So, thank you so much for coming. Let me know what you've been working on while we've been chatting. I really do love hearing from you. I did yesterday go out for breakfast with two people who were both crocheting while we were talking, and I was knitting, obviously. So we actually kind of had a little craft morning, and it was so exciting. But other than that, like, this is my craft group. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this group. And I'd love to hear what you've been working on. And I will see you next time. I don't know how long that will be away, but I will see you next time, hopefully with a few more finishes and lots more to share. All right, bye.